Hi everybody, I am Toby. Thanks very much for coming. This is a talk I'm doing primarily from a book that I've recently published, and it's entitled The Sacred You, How to Be Your Own Saviour, and that is a pretty heavy title to give a book, and I'll explain why I gave it that title shortly. You settle in, girl. I've done many years of research, trying to understand how and why things are what they are. 30 plus years. I was involved in a mystery school for 25 years, studying everything from palmistry, ancient Egypt, power of the mind. A mystery school. It's sort of esoteric.
No, I mean, does it have a name, or is that a mystery too?
No, that's a mystery. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a mystery, would it? And I'm a bit of a deep thinker anyway, so that's a shed load of thinking, and a shed load of trying to understand things. But nevertheless, about 5 years ago, I found myself in a situation where I was really kind of not happy. I tried everything to cause what I wanted to happen in life, and yet still things were not happening. I was unable to release what I felt in myself about life. And I suppose I had a bit of an epiphany moment in that deep, dark place in myself. I had nowhere else to go outside. I'd tried everything, done everything, hundreds of tests, 100 affirmations, built things to try and develop myself, to no avail. So I had nowhere else to go but myself. Nothing outside had given it, so I had to go deep into myself, and I found myself sort of going to places in myself I didn't even know existed. But in that time, although it was a struggle to do it, I got the realization that to a certain extent I'd been waiting to be saved. Now let me explain what I mean by this. I mean, people have a knowing about this because the world teaches us to wait to be saved, isn't it? You've got to wait till you get your car, your job, your money, your house, your friends, your lover, your cat and your food, and before you can decide that you're saved. And everything that you want to get saved by is on the outside of you. And the money managers of the world make a fortune out of us, providing the things they say we need before we can declare ourselves okay. And so it's very easy to fall into the game or the trap of looking outside for the answer. But this is neither wise, true, or useful, because there is never enough and there's always more. And besides, would you want anybody else to be the authority for your life? I mean, really we don't. We want to be our own authority for our life. We don't want it to be the tax man or the next door neighbour or even the bank manager. And I firmly understand and believe that we are our own saviour, and we have everything we need to, for want of better words, to save ourselves. Save ourselves from what? Good question. And I'll come to that shortly. So I realised that, hold on a minute, Toby, I've been looking out there, and suddenly I kind of settled in myself. And a deep settlement happened, and I thought, wow, it's me. And in that settlement I realized I actually had everything that I needed. I didn't need more. I didn't need someone to give me something before I could be who I am. I'm actually got it all here in myself to happen. So that gave me that saying, that you're never alone when you are at peace with yourself. And this book is an illustrated book throughout with my artwork in it. But have you noticed that whenever you settle to yourself and you say, okay, hello Toby, nice to be with you, I'm all right. When you settle to yourself, you suddenly get a sense from out of nowhere that you're no longer alone. It's strange, isn't it? Before you can say, oh, I'm feeling not quite there, not quite myself, not quite there. But as soon as you settle to yourself, to who you are, to what you are, you get a kind of a sense of not being alone. And I think that's a profound sense. I think it is, you know, for want of a better word, our true self saying hello to us, if you like. It's something quite profound. So having realised that actually within myself are all the resources I need, I thought to myself, right, Toby, let's try and make a picture to map it out to show how and why it works and is what it is. Because being a human is a complex business. This is my picture of being a human. You've got the world outside of us, things like pension, sex, home, nature, family, gossip, fashion, hobbies, shopping, friends, Facebook, children, politics, a whole whack of things on the outside of us. And then we've got what's in us: purpose, emotion, honesty, fear, memory, intuition, love, awareness, reason, anger, choice, attitude. And we've got our stuff inside us. So that in itself is a pretty complex pile of stuff, if you like. So how do we make sense of that? How do we work it out? How do we work what's what and what goes with what and what causes what? Because I want to know, because I want to be, you know, I want to be good for myself. So how can I make sense of that? So, in dealing, what are we dealing with? What we're dealing with is what's on the outside, and that's again a whole whack of things, from gossip, Mondays, thoughts of the future, boredom, money, sharing, job, politics, washing up, making love, hobbies, authority, to name but a few. These are what we deal with in life on a Monday or a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. That's all the stuff outside coming at us. Make sense so far? Okay. And that's a pretty bizarre mix of stuff, really. We're not, unless you're in a cave away from it all, we don't have to get hammered with stuff. So we've got what's coming at us, and then we've got what we're doing it with. Now we might be dealing with our job with depression, or dealing with money with fear, or dealing with thoughts of the future with happiness. So we've got fear, stress, insecurity, confidence, compassion, all these bits that we're doing what's coming at us with, and they can be change. We can have stress dealing with making love, insecurity about gossip. So again, this is building a kind of, not to make it depressed, but it's a complex picture, as we all know, because it is. I don't believe life is genuinely complex, but this is what we are in, all right? I mean, I think the truth is damn simple, and I think humanity is damn simple, but this is the world we're in, okay? So we got what we're dealing with and what we're doing it with, and then we've got why we're doing it. The reason why we're doing whatever we're doing with that emotion or that feeling. So that's another flick of the dice throw that causes whatever's going to happen. So with that lot, life can seem like a little bit of shake the dice and throw it out to see what today or I am now. And that's bizarre. I know it feels like it a lot of the time, but it did and does for me. But again, I don't think it's a truth. I think it's just the kind of the world we're in. It makes it like that. So, having kind of not depressed myself, but mapped out the terrible terrain, I then had to thought, right, Toby, so how can I work out, so how do we make sense of the who we are that is doing what we do? How can we discern the core parts of ourselves? Can we create a simple picture that helps us understand who we are and why we do what we do? That was my task. Not unreasonable, huh? So that was my task. Yeah. God bless me. Yeah. We're coming to that. Okay, so that was my task. And so I thought, right, how can I create a simple picture? Where do I start? Where do I start with all this stuff? Well, the first point of call, which is kind of obvious, is awareness. My awareness, yeah, I can see that. That's going on. So I've got this faculty of awareness. I can see that. It's kind of touchable. Right, awareness. Okay, so there's me and awareness. And I thought, right, good start, Toby. Now, I thought, okay, so what influences my awareness? And where does it come from? So I've decided that, yeah, awareness is a pretty powerful thing or faculty of me. But what causes my awareness? What causes me to be aware of one thing one day and another thing another day? Good question. Cool. Right, I'm going to map out, if you like, the human mind and stuff in this. But I've separated out the mind into many different bits. You may find this radical. I hope you find it useful. Okay, so that was my question. What influences my awareness? Here I am aware, I can be aware of a cup of tea, the Monday morning, my partner, the cat, and what happens in my awareness changes from day to day. But what causes it to change? I like to keep things as simple as possible. And keeping things simple, you've got more chance of it being reliable and working, yeah? So, what influences my awareness and where does it come from? My awareness is determined by my attitude. So I can have an attitude one day that causes me to be aware of things, a different attitude the next day causes me to be aware of a whole whack of other things. So according to my attitude is according to how my awareness functions. Not unreasonable, yeah? So I've now got two things to mapped out. My awareness and my attitude. Right, okay, pretty cool. Again, I do like to drill things down to try and find out the core of them. So, what causes us to become aware of one thing and not another? That's the wrong one. What causes our attitude? Should be at the bottom. Another really hard question. What causes our attitude to happen? A reasonable question. I've worked out I've got awareness, I've worked out attitude causes my awareness, but what causes my attitude? Yeah? Okay. The mind, the glorious mind. My state of mind determines what attitudes I have available to me. According to the condition of my mind is according to what attitudes happen. If my mind is all over the place, I've got all over the place attitudes, to put it simply. If my mind is focused, I've got focused attitudes. If my mind is preoccupied by how useless I am, I only have attitudes that confirm my uselessness, and my awareness sees everything of how useless I am, if you see what I'm saying. So these run, okay? State of mind determines your attitude determines your awareness. So this is now getting meaty, if you like. So now I've got my mind, and I've got to ask the next question, which is what makes up my mind? Yeah, not an unreasonable question, perhaps a bit tricky to answer, but still a valid question in the storyline we're following here. Now this next one is going to require a little bit of explanation. It's what's important to us that fills the mind, be it money, social acceptability, our inner well-being. We become mindful about it because of what it means for us. So we become mindful of something according to the meaning of it. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. But if you do mind, it does matter. And if you mind, you have meaning. It has reason for you. So the mind is made up according to the meanings we give to things. The meanings we give to Mondays, the meaning we give to our childhood, the meanings we give to tomorrow, and the meanings we give to ourselves. What we mean for us. These make up our mind, determine our attitudes, and then determine our awareness. Yeah? Pretty cool. I think it's cool. It's interesting. It works. So, yeah, we become mindful about it because of what it means to us. What it means, something to us, can be as unique as our fingerprints, but whatever the reason, they become the driving force that creates our attitudes and determines our awareness. Now, of all the bits and pieces, there aren't that many. I've only got a couple more or three more to show you. And these are what I call the players we have, the servants, or the parts of us, the tools, the faculties. This one, the reason, is really damn useful. It's one of the powerful ones in the whole pack. Why we do what we do is really, you've heard of the law of attraction? You know, it's kind of a big in thing now. It really is the calling card to the law of attraction. That signal of why you do what you do, not what you do, why you do it. This is the signal you're creating. This is the energy pattern you're filling your mind with. And that's the radiation beacon that causes to happen what happens. So why we do what we do is really punchy. It fills the mind. And I think in the book there's a saying that I've got that says, the mind doesn't listen to what we're thinking, it listens to why we're thinking it. Of course it does. It doesn't listen to the chatter of thinking, it listens to why you're chattering. If you're thinking about money, why you're thinking about money is what fills the mind. If you're thinking, I haven't got enough, if that's why you're thinking about money, that's what fills the mind. Reasonable? Okay. Okay, so keep on going with this one. What builds our reasons, the why we do what we do? That's not an unreasonable question in the path that we're going down. What builds our reasons? What causes us to have meaning for one thing and not another, or what type of meaning we have about it? Experience. Yeah, let's come into that. So what are the main creators and instigators of why we do what we do? And that's the question. And the answer is our thinking and our feelings, our emotions. What we think and what we feel about what we think, we create our meanings to things. Yeah? So you may have had an experience yesterday or when you were 3. What you think about that and feel about it determines the meaning it has for you. And that meaning gets lodged in the mind. So our thinking and our feeling are really the great powerhouses of creating our reasons why. I've done little graphic diagrams to kind of give them a little bit of spice. The thinking is a complex diagram and it's very slow to draw, and thinking is very slow and complex. Emotions whip you up or pull you down. So, what we think about and what we feel about creates and flavours the meaning we give to life. They create the story we tell ourselves about who we are and create the meaning of our life. Yeah. Now, all these are faculties, tools for our life. Now, the question is, what influences our emotion and thinking? And the primary influence upon our thinking and our emotions is our history of experience, the thinking and emotional habits we have created and the beliefs we carry because of it. So these great powerhouses that create the meaning for life are mostly powered by our habits, the magnetic pull of yesterday, if you like. How we thought yesterday, what we felt yesterday, pulls into our todays. Enormously so. Absolutely enormously so. Now, the habit is a powerful tool, very useful. Without habits, I'd never be able to get dressed in the morning. But it can run a bit riot in life. Yeah.
I think you have to do something more than 30 times for it to become a habit.
Yep, it gets locked into the habit once you do it repeatedly. Yep, that's true. I can wake up in the morning after a blissful night's sleep with the angels or whatever, and I wake up and the world's perfect. I haven't opened my eyes yet. All right, the world's perfect before I open my eyes. So I'm in bed, right? The world's perfect. I feel perfect. And then you open the eyes, kabang, and suddenly you're hit with the world and your memory and history about getting up, getting dressed, getting breakfast, going to work. And before you know it, half an hour's gone by and you've recreated yesterday in your todays. It's frightening, but I can see it happening in me every day. But I know. Huh? Yeah. But we are given that beautiful clean sheet in the morning, but we scribble with the colours of yesterday, and they ain't as bright as the colours of today. So, the glorious habit, or the powerful habit, the magnet, is another one of these parts of us. And these go all over the place and intertwine with each other, intertwine, and in a fraction of a second you can go through a whole set of them. Whenever I see, I always think of, this makes me feel because of what it means for me. Yeah. So we can have an experience and it can rattle through them all. But they are, so these are the parts that make the decisions about who we are and what we may become. And they can, in a fraction of a second, go through the following process. So these are the whacks I've sorted out. I thought, right, Toby, these are the bits and pieces I have to deal with or are mine to create my life with. And I've given them sort of hero and villain characters because sometimes they can steal from us and sometimes they seem to save us from the life we wish to be. But they are the resources we have within ourselves, the power of emotion, the strength of habit, the significance of our attitudes, and the driving force of why we do what we do. Be they hero or villain, we have made them so. They are our servants. This is my declaration to them. Although they may run riot in my life now and again, I understand that I am not my emotion. I'm not my thinking. I'm not my awareness. I'm not even why I do what I do. nor am I my attitude. They're parts that are an expression or a construction job of what I may become, if you see what I'm saying. So I deem these, let's see what happens, the area of self-management. This is the bits we have to manage: the family, the shopping, relationships, money, washing up, job, Mondays, money, and challenges. Money's in there twice. Let's remember that. Money's all out, money's always on the mind, isn't it? This world makes it so.
In the first one, picture quite a while back, you had politics in twice.
Thank you for reminding me. I'll do a little tidy up next time. Right, now there is one other faculty that I've put in here. Can you guess what it is? I believe this is a really I was going to say profound and powerful at the same time. It came out a bit strange, but a really profound and powerful part of us. And it is our intuition. This is by no means fluffy wuffy, not true stuff. Our intuition is serious business. We're doing it all the time. Every second we're feeling, knowing, touching, sensing. So our intuition is another one of these components that we have available to create, make, celebrate our life with. Part of our intuition is instinctual, which keeps us alert to danger. And that includes getting out of the way of a bus and things like this. But the intuition, it's actually, the word is, it's intuition. You're being educated. It's our education. And we're constantly being educated by an atmosphere in a room. We do it. We go into a room and we say, oh, this feels good, bad, nice, hot, slow, quick, whatever. We get a flavour of the room. We even get a flavour of the day. Have you sort of chatted with people, say, today's gone fast, and they say, yeah, it's really gone fast, isn't it? It's still just a day with 24 hours, but some days it goes fast, some days it goes slow, and other people seem to feel the same thing. Now that's weird. So our intuition is an important thing to consider. There is something missing in this. These are all servants, I declare. I don't think, they may be misinformed servants, they may be rebellious servants, they may be a pain in the arse servants, but I believe there are faculties given to us, if for want of a better word, to live our life with. And with that knowledge, I therefore become responsible for who I am. Because we are strange sometimes. We complain about how we're feeling, grumpy, sad, pissed off, as if it's not our fault. Human psychology never ceases to amaze me. But there is still something missing in this. And it's perhaps the trickiest part. I'll put it on the screen. Okay. First of all, these are the servants. They can only serve according to how we have educated them. We've done this by what we think about and what we do, the emotions that happen in us because of it. Yep. Right. This one. I've called it the inner life, for want of a better word, and I put a picture of a heart there, for want of a better picture. And the title of the talk was The Power of the Mind and the Wisdom of the Heart. Now, I kind of mapped out the power of the mind to some extent. All those bits are part of the mind's working, and they are powerful tools. The mind is a powerful commodity, Do you know you can think anything about anything you want? Say? It sure is. But I thought about this the other day. I thought, Toby, you can think anything about anything you want. Now that's freedom. That's freedom. you can choose to think about tomorrow in any way you choose. You can choose to think about your cat in any way you choose, and you can choose to think about yourself in any way you choose. It's true. It's infallible. I can't, there's no way I can't say that's not true. And the other greatest power is we can create, choose, define any reason for anything we do.
Oh, self-justification.
No, that's not excusing yourself. This is just your own power source. You can create your own motive in life. Yeah? You can choose any reason for anything you do. And if you put that with being able to think anything about anything, that is like weird. That's profoundly something. And it's totally true. I can't see that it's not. You can tell me that it's not, please. But we can't. I know history tells us how to think. And history gives us, or the money managers of the world give us the reasons why we do what we do. But that's just stuff coming outside into us. We can think anything about anything we want. And our thinking and what we feel about things are very important. They're highly interwoven. If you think something and you get emotions about it, you power the thinking. What you're feeling attracts certain types of thoughts to it. I'm always alert to where my thinking goes because of what I think. That tells me a lot about where I'm going that day in my head. Because you may think about your next door neighbour on one day and your thoughts go in a certain pattern. You may think about your next door neighbour on another day and your thoughts go in a different pattern. Where they go because of what you thought tells you how your mind's loaded. Yeah. In the book I go through each of these parts I've talked about, and I explain them. Emotions are the fuel we're running on, and the hero and villain aspects of them, and the habits, and the mind, and the awareness, and all of them. It's an interesting read, isn't it? I wrote in the blurb for this that the heart is the place we always go to find out the truth about ourselves. And it's true, whenever we want to find out, what something really means, we always go to the heart. We can think so much, but in the end, thinking is just thinking. We have to go to something here. I know it's kind of ethereal bit, but whatever that is, that seems to be really more important than the rest. And what your heart feels about life seems to be really more powerful and should be the guidance for the rest of these sermons. I know the sermons are slightly messed up because the world's got in there and fiddled with them, but they're still our sermons. But we need to know what this is for ourselves so that we can direct them better. Yeah? To know, or to get close to, what our heart is. Now, when I sent this book off to someone in America who ran a counselling agency for people, and she read it and she said, "Oh, lovely, great stuff. Can I use your posters and things?" Yeah. She said, "What about a book on self-love?" I thought, "Oh yeah, that's an interesting idea." And this is the book I'm currently writing, and I didn't realise how important it was. And I'm introducing it now because it's linked to that centre bit, and I'll explain a little bit about it because of it. When I started looking at the idea of self-love, I thought, yeah, self-love, there's a lot of fluffy wuffy stuff talked about self-love, and I'm not into fluffy wuffy stuff. It doesn't do it for me. But whatever this self-love is, it seems to be fairly important. Because I then began to look into myself. And so, do I love me? Oh, I don't know. How well am I? How do people love? Do people love themselves? You know, I started looking at and finding out where and how this was or wasn't happening. And it became pretty clear quickly that most people's bad choices come from their lack of self-love. And I thought, wow, that's important. And I thought, wow, this how do you help, or how do I help myself and help other people to self-love? Big question, big important one. So I started work on this, and it is very important. There's no you've got to. It's not that you've got to love yourself, but without you, you're only half a person, and you're a lesser half too. Because when you love yourself, you know something, you become whole. You become invincible. Actually, I've got a good slide for that, and it explains it a bit. To love yourself, you have got to touch the kind of vulnerability of yourself. Yeah. In the book, I talk about two states: our fragile self and our vulnerable self, and they are different. Okay, at least I'm calling them different, and I'll explain why. We have a fragile self that might get broken, and so we protect it with our ego. And our ego fears being broken, so it attacks, defends our sense of being fragile, right? And the world makes us fragile. Damn them, you know. They can make us feel half a person, not enough money, not enough this, not enough that. So we go around fragilized by the world. So it's mostly its fault, but we feel fragile because of it. But that's an ego reaction to try and protect. But there is another condition that I'm using the word vulnerable with. And that state of vulnerable is a state where you're touching your heart a bit. It's a state of openness. Fragile makes closed. Vulnerable is open. Whenever you connect to higher energies, essences, some kind of love, a sense of vulnerability happens in you. It's then a question of how long before you close it with your sense of fragility. Yeah? So this vulnerable and fragile conditions can easily sort of go hand in hand. I suppose you can call it love and fear, because they are the greatest powers there are, it seems. Love is vulnerable, fear is fragile. But within that state of vulnerability, there is an indomitable strength. There really is. It is a powerful piece of business. You know, when someone's in that, they are whole. So whatever this self-love business is, you've got to allow your vulnerable self to you. You don't have to be vulnerable to your next door neighbour, but to you, you must allow your vulnerability. It's important. Therefore, one of the biggest chapters I've realised I've got to write is forgiveness, self-forgiveness. Because I was terrible to myself. I was a right tyrant to myself, beating myself up all over the place. Very unforgiving. But it's important that we do forgive ourselves, because, well, you can have your own reason why. I know you know it's true. There's no reason not to, actually. There's no reason not to forgive yourself. No reason whatsoever. Because you're beholden to no one, just you. And you can't be whole until you forgive yourself. Sorry, I'm sounding a bit preachy. But I did write something on this because I started asking around, because I thought, you know, how can I love the grumpy of me? You know what I mean? Because if you say love yourself, all right, but I'm pissed off, you know. how can I love the pissed off me? It's a reasonable question, you know. You know, I don't want to fluff it over and just pretend it's not there. That would be dumb. I must accept reality. And if I'm pissed off, I'm pissed off. If I'm grumpy, I'm grumpy. I'm damned if I'm going to live a lie. So how do I love, so I started asking that question, asked around a few people and stuff. And I wrote this, and I think I'll finish off with this. You're welcome to ask questions or whatever, have a look at the book. We are the guardian angel of the family of ourselves. The consciousness of all the unknown memories of our lives. It's easy to love ourselves when we're feeling good. It's tricky when we are feeling bad, and it can seem impossible when we're feeling ugly. We do not love the grumpy of us, the sad of us, the hostile of ourselves, the parts of us that act as if we do not care. We name them as not us, and so drive a sword into ourselves, separating ourselves into the good and the bad, the worthy and the unworthy of ourselves. We declare this part of ourselves as a disturber of the peace, a foe to our purpose, an antagonist to our harmony, and so we become an intolerant parent to the hurting child within us, the part of us that is in distress, in need of understanding, in need of love. And I found that really cool, really cool. And I find it very true. So now when I'm grumpy and pissed off and not feeling good, I have a little bit of patience with myself. Hello, Toby. I know you're pissed off and grumpy. You can be okay. It's all right. You can be grumpy. I communicate with myself. Because we certainly can't expect to be perfect, can we? Anybody know anyone who's perfect? Do you really think you can be perfect this lifetime? No, I've yet to discern anyone who's anywhere near that. So, talk gently to yourself about what you truly care about, so you will know who you really are. Yeah. Your relationship to you is everything. It's more important than the next door neighbour, more important than the bank manager. It's the most important thing in the universe. And you need to take care. Because you are a sacred life. Sacred meaning worthy of spiritual respect. So I call it the sacred you because you are worthy of spiritual respect. Everybody is. No one is lesser or greater, I don't believe. Okay.
Tell that to the Queen, Toby.
Yeah.
Well, tell that to my next door neighbour, yeah. Doesn't matter. You need to know it in yourself, that's all. You can't fight. Yeah. We can't expect the end of war until we cease the war in ourselves. Because the very energy that allows war to happen, we humans generate. Yeah?
Some humans do.
Okay?
Some humans do. I don't know about we. When you say we, do you mean everybody?
I reckon that that all the antagonism that people carry around about themselves radiates antagonism. And then somebody feels antagonism, gets a sword, and if you're with someone who's got a peaceful energy, you don't bash something, do you? You say, "Oh, I feel peaceful." So I do believe, although it is slightly fluffy-wuffy, I do believe, what we radiate and energize does create our world. It doesn't mean you haven't got to stand up for what you believe in, but we, as a energizing creator of creation, are seriously important. Okay, this is on happiness. Right. Everyone wants to be happy. It guides our lives. But the world would have us believe that life is a struggle for the resources that are needed before we can be happy. That there is not enough time, money, or love to be happy now. So we wait to be happy with our list of things we need before we can decide that we are happy. I will be happy when list and the if only list. So we give up being happy to be and do things in order to be happy. We have a preset level of happiness according to how worthy we think we are. But that level of happiness is only in our imagination and can be changed at any time by our decision to be happy now. Despite whatever may or may not be happening in our lives, we can decide to up our level of happiness, to declare to our grumpy self or sad self that we are okay. We can still be sad and grumpy, but it will be an okay sad and an okay grumpy. When we do this, we tap into the reservoir of light within ourselves, and the world becomes brighter because of it. We don't need a reason to be happy, only our choice that it be so. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it.